everybody, and welcome to the show. My name is Jared Lee, and I'm joined, as usual, by my lovely wife, Jamie Lee. So, Jamie, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
In terms of, a lot of times at the beginning of the show, we talk about what's going on in our lives. We had it's been an eventful couple of weeks. Your parents are heading back to Missouri this weekend sometime. So it's been a lot of, we went to the beach today and doing a lot of things, before they head back, which we will see them. We're going to go back to Missouri this summer, so we'll see them in a month or so. But,
right.
But yeah, they're snowbirding in here, then heading back to Missouri. And then Saturday, our daughter is she's a dancer. She takes after Jamie.
She is a dancer. She does ballet and jazz so far.
Yes, and she's very much into it. And Saturday was her big recital. And mind you, I have all brothers, and I come from a sports background. So dancing is very foreign to me, but I love it because our daughter loves it, and she's beautiful, and she's happy when she does it. And I'm all for that. So went to the recital, and this is like her third year. So the first two recitals, like the mini recitals, they lasted a couple hours.
Oh, not even that. The last 2 years, they were all the little kids, and it was like hour and 15 minutes, then we're done.
That's the little kids.
Yeah.
So this is the first year that it was like the big recital she was a part of.
Yeah.
And they rented it was at the Florida Theater, downtown Jacksonville, really big venue. I was like, okay. So we get there. Our daughter did 2 dances, and she did fantastic. She knew her lines. She was where she was supposed to be. She was directing other kids.
Knew her lines.
She recited lines, even though she didn't have any. She did great. This went on. So it was an all-day affair because you were gone from like 8 a.m. and then I think you got back home around like 3 something. This for the rehearsal the same day.
Yeah, there was supposed to be a break. Yes. Okay, so I guess we should explain real quick. They do rehearsals on the same day as the recitals.
Which seems crazy to me.
Which is not traditional in a lot of dance company, like small dance companies like that.
Yeah.
Usually it's like a couple days before, maybe even a week before, but it was a little odd to me. And I'm in the dance world, so it's...
And from outside looking in, I was like, this seems excessive.
Yeah.
But, so home for maybe an hour. She had to stop by her friend's birthday party, drop off a gift. And then we had to be at the recital at 7. So we head there. This recital went on from 7 p.m. until just about midnight.
It was 11:45 when they finally did the finale.
I love watching our daughter dance. She did great, but I was not prepared mentally or spiritually for better parts of 5 hours sitting there watching basically a ballet and then different dancing. And again, I love watching our daughter. I don't much care to watch other people's kids. I'm sure they're great. I just, in terms of like my interest, it's basically my kids.
Well, it was 2 recitals in one, essentially. It was an actual Sleeping Beauty ballet was the first half, 2 hours long, 2 hours and 15 minutes, whatever. And then we got an intermission. And then jazz and tap and everything else was another 2 hours and something minutes. And there were 28 dances in each half. It was ridiculous.
It was a bit much.
It was too much.
But I will say the theater, they were kind of genius in this fact of when we got there, I noticed they're selling alcohol. And I'm like, okay, good idea. So the first intermission happens, and this is midway, and I think it was 9:15. 9:15. So mind you, our kids are normally in bed by at the latest 9 o'clock.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh my goodness. I wasn't planning on drinking or anything. And I was like, I need a beer. So I go get in the line, and it's just, as you can imagine, it's just all dads. So I'm standing there. I actually I brought AirPods.
Yeah, he was the guy that had AirPods.
A backup battery charger because I'm like, we've got all this time between dances. I'm watching some stuff. I'm just whatever. So I'm in line, and then, of course, this always happens to me. This guy turns around and he just goes, "This seems kind of excessive, right? Like it's already 9:15." And I was like, "Yeah, it seems a bit long." And I swear, like 8 dads just turn around and all on you say, just start go. This is crazy, and just going off. And I was like, it seems that way to me, but I don't know how these things work. I found out now it does seem a little crazy, and I'm hoping I'm lobbying for either a different dance studio next year or something else, because apparently this is a yearly thing. Because your dad found out because he had to take a time out. He found out from
he had to take a time
talking to the staff there. Oh yeah, hers do this like every single year, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I know it's one day a year, and our daughter loves it. I want her to dance, but I would rather not spend 5+ hours just kind of stuck there. But our
Well,
son,
we'll see.
right? But our son, which I was worried about, he's 3. You'd think, oh man, he didn't do very good. He did fantastic. I was so impressed.
The entire thing.
Yeah. He saved that all for the next day. I think he decided to take it out on us the next day. But he did great. And so that's what's going on with us. A lot of dancing, a lot of beach, a lot of doing stuff with your parents before they go. So,
Yep.
but it was a good weekend.
Yeah, it was busy. It was hectic, but it was great. And so I'm glad she got to do her first official big girl recital. So.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. And that's one of those where we're recording this on a Wednesday and it feels like a mix between a Thursday, a Friday, and a Monday. I don't really know what day it is. It's just, it's all messed up. But anyways, that's what's going on with us. But we do have we're just not just going to complain about recitals and how long they take. Although I have ideas, I could go on.
Oh gosh, you could go on, you guys. You could go on. You could go on a lot.
I mean, at one point, they always give a spiel, and the dance teacher was going on, and she was like, "And don't miss out on us dancing at the end." And I was like, "I don't care one bit about you dancing."
Be like maybe if there was only 20 dances in the whole thing, but after 55 of them, no, thank you.
She did it as if she was like this world-renowned dancer. I'm just like, I was more likely to boo you at that point versus cheering you, because I'm here for one little girl and that's it, and that's my daughter. And anyways, but yeah, but no, I'm just gonna talk about that. Like I said, I could go on. We do have some Disney news we're gonna talk about, including there may be some changes coming to the Cosmic Rewind. How you get on that ride? We'll talk about that. And Jamie has a poll time, of course. And then we're going to talk to Jamie about her Wild Africa trek that she did at Disney World. Not in Africa, but at Disney World. So we're going to talk about that. But before we do that, if you would like even more content, if you want to hang out with some cool people, be able to chat with us a bit more and do some fun live streams and things like that, you should look at joining Club 32. That's our private group where, like I said, you have private live streams, and we have additional shows like Cool Kids Kitchen, Club 32 Speakeasy. For this summer, we're bringing back C-Team at the Movies. We're going to start this week on Thursday. We're going to start watching I guess we're going to call it C-Team Summer Vacation. We're going to start watching the 90s sitcoms where they went to Disney and how we just talk about that. I'm sure it'll be funny because they all seem like they're at one park all the time, even though they jump between all the parks. Plus, involved in that, you get a private Facebook group, a private Discord, 20% off of CTM apparel and 1901 Candle Company products. And it's just a really great time. So again, if you want to join there, you can go to ctmvip.com, and we have monthly or yearly options. You can do a free trial. And if you want to support the show and just interact with us more, that's a great way to do it. So again, ctmvip.com. And if you'd love to join, if you'd like to join there, we'd love to have you. So, all right, well, let's get to our first bit of news here, which is Disney Floral and Gift Department is being dissolved.
Yeah, Disney is going to start using a third-party company starting at the end of August. It's called Florida Fresh Floral, and all orders placed after August 26th will need to go through them. So you have until the end of the summer till that change takes place. So, I mean, this isn't a huge deal, but I know that people will use flowers being delivered to your room, or just set up gifts, or even like engagements, honeymoons, birthdays, whatever it is. Disney took care of all of that. And so now it'll be going through a third party, which I don't know if I don't think it may not be as good or as efficient because Disney's known for that kind of stuff. So I don't know. What do you think?
I'm not surprised. Disney's doing a lot of tightening of the budget.
They just laid off a bunch of people.
A lot of layoffs, a lot of streamlining. Yeah. With things like this, you always worry about. I mean, again, we've talked about numerous times especially on the park side of things, about them losing their, what used to be like the magic touch about certain things. I think this would go into that category of people. Now, we've never, and you may have, I don't recall ever using the Disney Floral Gift Department. I know some people have.
I don't think I have, no.
Yeah, but it's one of those things, I'm sure people have used it. I've heard people talk about they did a great job and it adds a little extra flair.
Yeah.
So anytime you're using a third-party vendor, I think you're always going to lose a little bit of that personal touch.
Maybe.
Just because it's not you don't have the control over that, but they don't have, I'm sure the way this works, they just get a cut off of whatever's being charged. And
right.
Disney's not paying for that directly. They don't have to pay for the labor and all that. So I'm not surprised by it. It does, to me, kind of point to probably a trend in which they may start doing this with other things that they offer that they don't.
What do you think?
I mean, off the top of my head, I just think they don't deem as like probably what they would say is core things. Maybe I'm trying to think off the top of my head.
Well, what comes to mind, and this isn't necessarily something that was taken away, but it was just kind of like, okay, this is what's going to happen. But when they started using Scooterbug exclusively to be able to like deliver and keep your ECVs
Right.
at the front desk, they don't offer, like, you used to be able to do third party, like Lake Buena Vista scooters or Kingdom strollers. They used to be able to just leave the ECVs at Bell Services, and they can no longer do that because now Disney exclusively uses Scooterbug. So I don't know, using the third party system I think is an easier thing for Disney. I think that maybe taking the not the liability and responsibility, but just maybe like all of the stuff goes with like owning all of it, takes that away and makes it just a little bit easier for them. I don't know.
I would assume it's mostly just a cost thing.
Probably.
They're probably
yeah.
just looking at where they can shave stuff, because I honestly think what they're doing across the board is trying to free up enough money, partially just because, I mean, obviously layoffs are happening, so they're not doing great on a lot of fronts, but I think they're wanting to get enough money or leverage where they can, for the Hulu purchase that they're going to have to do in 9-ish months.
Yeah.
Because that's coming up at the 1st of 2024. So I think you're going to maybe see a lot more of this. I don't know specifically what other areas it would be, but I won't be surprised to see more, these ancillary little things that Disney does. I've always wondered for a while. I mean, it's an easy thing for them. They could do that with the stroller rentals. But again, it's really easy for them to do it. So I don't know if they would do that, because you got to think they just got to get the strollers and people to just assign them out. I don't know if that's something they would maybe do away with and let somebody else handle. They could. Well, if there's a lot of cost involved with their side, they may do that.
I don't know if Scooterbug, do they do stroller rentals too? Because I know some companies will do both.
I would doubt it, because Disney does it.
Well, okay. They also do it in the parks too, like
that's
the
true.
scooters. So
I don't know. We
both.
never used that, so I don't really know. That'd be something to look into. But
Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't, like I said, little things like that, I wouldn't be surprised to see them do more of.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess if you're planning or you want to use the floor or gift department that's done by Disney, do it before August 26th.
Yeah.
So.
For sure.
Yeah. So. All right. Next story we have is the annual pass holder benefits have started for this month. Is it going to be every month?
No, this is just through June.
Okay, just for June.
Yeah, and just some of the notable things that I want to mention. So the Figment magnet can be picked up in Creations, and that's just whenever, I think it's like 9 to 6 or 9 to 9. It's basically whenever it's open. And then there's that relaxation area in the mall, the Land Pavilion. And you can get some swag, some
next
treats.
right next to the Sears.
That's right. Get some like free snacks and like stickers and stuff like that. You can also buy some specialty treats for this month. There's a 30% discount on merchandise, including on Shop Disney, which they don't really do that. Usually it's just the parks.
Mm-hmm.
And that 30% is just up 10% from the 20% they usually do. And then they have added a month worth of bonus park reservations to everybody's account in Epcot and Animal Kingdom.
Yep.
So if you want to go to either one of those, you have enough park reservations to last you all month. So there you go.
This is true.
Those are some of the notable ones I wanted to mention. But they seem to be really trying to get people to spend some money and just be at the parks this month.
And mind you, annual passes are still on sale.
They really are.
We've speculated they came back on sale over a month ago. When did they come back on sale?
It was August 20th, August 18th.
It was August 20th?
I mean, sorry, April. You're right. April.
What? Okay, April. So, yeah, I mean, coming up, this month would be 2 months of them being open. So we've wondered if they'll stay open. I mean, the longer this goes on, the more I think it'll just be how it always was, which is you could just purchase it whenever you want.
I think that's yeah.
Again, talking about precedent setting, that's how it always had been. It wasn't until under Chapek that they did this capping of it.
Right.
So...
Right.
We'll see. But yeah, I mean, I really I wish Disney would even do more. I mean, we talked about many times, we like how Universal does a lot of things for the pass holders that they've always done. I wish Disney would do more of that instead of just doing it kind of when they need it. Sort of thing.
True, but I will say I do love all of these perks. These
for sure.
These are all great. And like, for example, like not to compare Universal and Disney like we do a lot, but Universal, they have that special pass holder entrance just for, it was back in May. Well, Disney has that all the time at every park. It's a special pass holder entrance.
Oh, you mean the turnstile?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always there.
Granted, they don't really enforce that.
Not as much as they should for the right.
Yeah.
But that'd be kind of hard to do. But I think there is a lot going on for any pass holders this month, and I'm happy to see that.
I agree. What I'm saying is I wish they would just consistently do this all the time instead of just, I don't think it's any coincidence they're doing this whenever bookings are down this summer.
Right.
And they, historically speaking, Disney has, anytime they, all of a sudden bookings are down, they kind of go knocking on the pass holder door and like, hey guys, how you doing?
So let me ask you a question. What would you like them to do for annual pass holders they don't already do?
Well, I think some of this stuff, like this relaxation, like always having these types of perks. I mean, they always do the magnet. That's something they've always done.
Yeah.
So that's there. I think the bonus park reservations, if you're going to have the park reservation system, which again, I do not like, but if you're going
to,
if you are going to have it, having bonus park reservations or a little bit extra stuff on there is a perk. So I will agree with that.
Yeah.
I think the discounts, I really think the discounts should apply more. I mean, like not to compare Universal and Disney, but Universal, you get AP discounts on quick service, on everything except for alcohol. So I kind of wish it would be more broad on what you get discounts on. And again, you don't have to do, I'm not saying you have to do a lot. It's just a little bit that it doesn't cost Disney any money. It can go a long ways with, a special entrance here or a special, even a meet and greet here or there. Like just, little things that at least make people feel like, oh, well, they care about me being a pass holder versus, I think that goes with two of them capping it. It definitely gives the image that they don't want more pass holders. So them then doing this kind of gives another image of, well, okay, maybe they do. So, I think that just being more consistent on, perks for the pass holders, I don't think it would be a bad thing. And I think that would just help you retain pass holders and make the pass holder feel a little bit more, valued, I could say.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you agree or disagree? Or?
I think they do. This is a lot, and there's more that I didn't even mention. So I'm happy. I'm happy with everything they're doing this month. And we've said in the past, if when they need annual pass holders, we'll know it.
For sure.
And they're showing it now. They need us to kind of help them.
Yeah. And my only point is, I wish they would just do this more consistently all the time.
Sure.
Yeah. So I think we're saying the same thing, just in different ways.
Okay.
So yeah. All right. Next bit of news is an interesting one. Is that there is an extended queue being set up near Cosmic Rewind. So the question becomes, is a standby queue coming to Cosmic Rewind?
Yeah, and it's outside. It's like right to the side of the entrance, like kind of to the side of Connections eatery over there. Maybe. I would think so. It's been over a year since Cosmic Rewind opened. So you're thinking, okay, I think standby is coming. I don't think it's getting as many people in the queue as before, like in the virtual queue.
And we talked about that. There's many times where the virtual queue still open hours after the second drop.
Yeah.
The second drop's like 1 p.m. And there's been some days, obviously it depends on crowded levels, but 5:00 and there's still spots open for the virtual queue.
And they're also offering Epcot after hours where they don't have a virtual queue. It's all standby.
Right.
So if there's going to be a lot of people in those lines, maybe, but I don't see Epcot after hours seeing long lines like that where they need that space.
No, and I don't think they would add a standby queue just for after hours events.
Oh, I agree. I think it's coming. I really do think it's coming.
Well, that whole side area to me was clearly set up to be a queue. It's
nothing.
It's just a giant area where it's got some benches.
Yeah.
And I think it was always meant that was where they were going to eventually put it if they did. So the timing makes sense. I don't think it requires a virtual queue as of now. So
I personally, I don't mind the virtual queue because it just means I don't have to wait in line as long.
Agreed. I agree. Virtual queue is nice if you get it and you can, you kind of plan your day around it versus.
Sure.
But this also could be them trying to get more people to do individual lightning lane as well, maybe, and things like that.
Ooh, good point.
If they could just,
I bet they might.
I mean,
Yeah.
so because if it's a 90-minute wait and you can purchase in individual lightning lane, then maybe that justifies a higher price for it, stuff like that.
I didn't even think about that, but you're probably right.
I mean,
at least a little bit.
Knowing
right.
Disney, I wouldn't be surprised by that. But
Right.
but I mean, the timeline.
I mean, it's smart. Whatever.
Well, the main, like, for instance, like Rise of the Resistance. I mean, it had a virtual. That was the first ride that Disney did that had a virtual queue like this.
Mm-hmm.
It kept it for so long. I mean, the main reason being that ride went down all the time.
It still goes down.
It still goes down all the time. But back when it was really busy, because every time that ride would go down, you would have to clear out that entire queue.
Mm-hmm.
And this way, they had small groups coming in. So if it went down, all you'd have to do is evacuate that little that queue of people, and then everybody else would just be postponed.
Well, and they could also control when they call boarding groups.
Correct.
So, like, if it went down or there's a problem for whatever reason, they just halted calling in the next boarding group, and if it gets to the point where it's the end of the night and it's still down or whatever, it even says on the thing, there's no guarantee that you're going to get to ride, even if you get a boarding group. So I think, like, there was a little bit of insurance that way, but I just don't think it's needed anymore. It may be needed on really, really, really busy days, but we won't see those really until when, like Christmas?
Yeah. I mean, the other thing, the pros and cons of the virtual queue, in theory, the way they work, you can be doing other things. Let's say your boarding group is number 90-something. Okay, and it gives you an estimated arrival time. You can go do some other stuff instead of just waiting in a line.
Yeah.
But the downside of that is you've got to try and get one before 7 a.m., and a lot of people start their day off with immediately being disappointed that they didn't get one. Or maybe they get one and they can't make it, because they're being a little bit more strict on the arrival times of virtual queues now.
Well, I think that goes hand in hand with Genie Plus system, where they kind of announced they're looking into ways where you can book it before the day.
Right.
They haven't said anything else about it since we talked about it last, but I think that is where they're going. I think they're looking into those options because people don't want to get up early. So, okay, I'll say some people don't want to get up early on their vacations. Some people will be up at like 6 a.m., 5:30, whatever, and they're ready to go. But there's like a whole other section that's like, oh, I'm going to come into the park at like 4, stay till 3 a.m. if I could. And that's when I'm happy. You know what I mean? Like,
and I think from like, let's say a mindset perspective, right off the bat in the morning, you have an adrenaline dump. People are just trying to push the button and trying to get it. And either you've got all this excitement, we got one, or you didn't get it. So you're starting off your mornings on your vacation on extremes of either happy or mad. And there's, that's not to me, I don't really think that's a good way to approach a guest experience. Is either like really happy or really mad.
Yeah.
And in theory, again, virtual queues would be great if you could sign up for virtual queues all over the park. They don't have the system or ability to do that. So there's always been a question of like, will virtual queues become available on maybe more than 1 or 2 rides at a time sort of situation? I don't think nor them nor Universal are set up for that currently. Mm-hmm. So I think as it stands, standby is still a way if you really want to ride something, rope drop, or okay, we'll wait an hour for this. Nobody wants to wait an hour in line, but you do at least, if you're willing to wait an hour in line, you get to ride it instead of missing out on the virtual queue. So I see the arguments, and I think I don't think as it currently stands, it needs one necessarily, because I think honestly, my opinion of it is, I think it's a little bit more intense for the general Disney going crowd. It's deemed a family coaster, and it's like I said, it's the peak of my roller coastering. What I would want to do. I've ridden it 3 times.
Roller coastering.
That's what I call it.
Did you verb it? Did you make it a verb?
I think so.
That's amazing.
I think I made up a word.
I'm gonna go roller coastering.
What are you doing today? I'm roller coastering. Don't worry about it.
That's amazing. I'm stealing that.
I've said it before.
I'm stealing it.
Well,
let's
give me a shout out.
Okay,
or something.
sure.
You won't. It's fine. But I think that could play into this, and honestly, too, we've seen where the crowds aren't. Disney's running some ticket deals. I don't think people are traveling as much this summer, perhaps to, maybe theme parks or something. So we'll see. But I wouldn't be surprised if it goes away and you've got virtual queue, and then you have standby, and then if you really want to ride it, you've got individual lightning lane. Yeah, you can purchase it. That would be my guess. So, All right, move on to the next story, or at least the last bit of news that we have is that Hong Kong Disneyland shared a look at their Frozen Ever After attraction that they're bringing over there. Mm-hmm. And the interesting thing about theirs is they don't have rear-facing projection on the faces like they do at Epcot.
Yeah, and what Jared's talking about is, especially what that's most glaringly obvious and kind of is at the end of Frozen Ever After at Epcot, you have Anna and Elsa. They're singing and holding hands. Well, that's the rear projection. So it's like it's not really the like faces. It's like whenever
it's like a dome.
Yeah, and like when it's not working, it's just like a blue screen with like a T on it. Mm-hmm. But it's just like computer. It's computer faces basically, and they're just not doing that in Hong Kong. And they showed examples of what it looks like. It looks great. It looks great.
Oh, I agree.
I wish they would do that.
Well, I think if I were to be honest, I think they did it that way at Epcot because I'm sure animatronics with facial features is much more expensive.
I could be, yes.
I would not. I would go as far as say not could be. For sure would be. I would assume to have faces that look the part, that move and do things, versus you just have this projection dome thing. So I'm sure that's why. It's never bothered me a lot, unless it's not working. But it doesn't look the greatest. Like it definitely looks off compared to. They really haven't done that on other attractions. That I can think of. I could be wrong, but
I'd have to think about it.
I don't recall them doing it on other attractions, just that one. And they do it on other, I mean, it's at the end, but it's also in other scenes in the ride as well that they do it. So again, when it's working, it's okay. It just definitely, I think a well-working animatronic. And again, which is Disney was known for animatronics and like bringing that to rides and making you feel like making things come to life. So I definitely think it's something that I wish they would put in Epcot.
Runaway Railway does it. Especially like what's noticeable at the beginning when you see Mickey and Minnie in the car, they're talking to Goofy in the train.
Yeah,
they have it, and I've seen where it doesn't work, and it's really freaky.
The only thing I will say about that is it almost fits that animation style though. Like those cartoons are meant to look like look like cartoons versus Anna and Elsa are animation that's made to look sort of lifelike.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like I agree, you're right. They do it on there. I've never been on it when it's not doing it, but it's not something that's. I don't know. On that ride, it doesn't stick out to me as much because I think it all blends into that animation style, which isn't looking realistic. It's just looking very cartoonish. But
okay.
Either way, I don't know. But they're not doing it at Disneyland, Hong Kong. So there we go.
There you go.
That's what we got. So all right. Well, that's all the news that we have. But we do have a poll time.
Poll time. All right. For this week's poll time, I asked the question, what kind of Disney park shopper are you? So here are the results. So 64% say I shop throughout the day as I see fit. 18% said I'm not much of a shopper. 16% said I wait until park closing or right before leaving. And 2% said I shop mostly in the morning, early on, or once I arrive. So overwhelmingly, people shop when they feel like it.
That doesn't seem like a shock to me.
It's not a shock. I asked that question because I want to know how many people wait to the very end. That's why, because the shops are always just inundated with people. And I'm always curious about, like, do they consciously make that decision to wait? Or is it just kind of convenient, like, oh, I'm leaving, I'll just check the shop and get what I was going to buy earlier or whatever?
Yeah. I think a good question to ask maybe on another one sometime is asking people if, because we've talked about before, Disney no longer, you used to in the parks, if you bought something, let's say you're on Main Street and you go to the Emporium at like noon and you buy something, you're like, I don't want to carry this around all day. And if you're staying at a Disney resort, they would send it, like saying if you're staying at the Contemporary, they would send it to the Contemporary and you go pick it up when you get back there. Mm-hmm. Well, they don't do that anymore. And I've heard from a lot of people saying that they no longer really shop in the parks, or they change it up and when they shop because of that. I'd be curious, asking our group, because we've had some feedback on some different social media platforms of, does that affect their purchasing habits? I would assume it does, because personally, if I'm thinking about if I wanted something, the last thing I want to do is have another thing to carry around all day.
So they don't send it to the front of the park either?
They do that, I believe.
Okay.
But again, you got to go pick that up before you leave. And again, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just know a lot of people have mentioned that as being that was a nice perk that they no
Oh,
longer
it's
do.
wonderful.
Yeah. So, and I've heard some people say they don't even shop in the parks now a lot of times because of that, because they don't want to get something and then have to carry it around all day.
True. I wouldn't either. Especially like when you think about the festivals, like
Right.
Festival of the Arts, all that art that you buy, or like expensive stuff like lounge flies or anything like that. I would definitely prefer
Well,
it be delivered.
And if you think about, if you got a stroller, you go in and go on other rides. And a lot of times you have to leave that stuff outside with the stroller. You don't want to carry it on rides. You run the risk of people taking it, sort of situation. So,
Yeah.
I could see there's a lot of reasons as to why it's a nice perk. I could see people used. And I just heard a lot of feedback recently that they, that's something that we didn't even talk about at the time, but that's because we don't do a lot of buying in the parks, I think maybe is the why. If we do,
not a
it's
ton.
if we do, it's
varies.
small stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Versus, I think a lot of people used to do that a lot, and they would just say, send it to my. I don't think they sent it to your room. I think they sent it to the front desk, and then you would just go pick it up. But
Yeah.
So. Well, either way, thank you for the poll
Oh
time.
yeah, thanks everybody for participating in the poll time this week, and I will have a new poll next week.
Yes, if you want to be part of the next poll time, you can do it in two ways. You can join the Captain Magic Facebook community, or you can do it on Instagram. That's where Jamie posts them in the stories there. So at Captain Magic on Instagram is where you can do that as well. So either or both, whatever you want to do. So head on over there.
Okay.
So, all right. Well, let's talk about our topic today. Did I do a segue there?
Let's talk about our topic.
Let's talk about our topic today,
All right.
which we're going to talk about Wild Africa Trek. So
Yeah.
Jamie did this a couple of weeks ago,
I did.
and I don't know much about it, so I've saved a lot of my questions for, asking you here. So we're learning together, everyone.
All right.
So what, just start things off. What is the Wild Africa Trek, Jamie?
Okay. Well, Jared, listen up here.
Welcome to our infomercial.
First of all, I've wanted to do this for quite some time, but I wasn't sure that Jared was really wanting to do it. But we did get somebody to do it with me, and she actually a Club 32 member, and so it was really fun. And I was really glad that I got to do it with somebody else if Jared didn't want to do it. But anyway, so it's a 3-hour privately guided tour where you learn about wild and exotic animals at Animal Kingdom. That's basically what it is.
Okay.
It is $199 per person. Annual pass holders and DVC members receive a discount of 15% with a price of $169.15 plus tax. Now, a portion of all of that admission to this tour goes to the Disney Conservation Fund, which I think is good. You must have a valid park admission and theme park reservation for Animal Kingdom that is separate for the tour cost. They offer 4 times daily for the tours: 8:45 a.m., 10:15 a.m., 11:45 a.m., and 12:30 p.m. And you must be at least 8 years old and 48 inches tall and weigh no more than 300 pounds.
Okay.
So those are the general specifics, if you will.
I do love General Specific. He's a great guy. All right. And, how do you go about booking it if you want to book that?
If you want to book this, you can call into Disney, or you can go to the Enchanting Extras little tab in My Disney Experience or on the website and book it through there. I believe you can book 60 days out, but it's not at 6 a.m. It's at midnight. So it's a little bit different than like dining reservations.
Gotcha. Okay.
So yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
Well, I suppose take us through the trek. What do you do? Like, what's it look like? How's it go? All that stuff.
Okay. Well, so first of all, this day, it was the 26th of May is when I went. It was raining. It was raining pretty hard, and I was running a little bit late. So our tour was supposed to leave at 11:45. I didn't arrive to Animal Kingdom until it was 11:25. Like, it was pretty close, and I was supposed to be there at 11:30. I was a little bit late, so I'm like running through Animal Kingdom in like wet shoes, and like I'm getting soaked, and I'm like, I gotta go. I'm making it, and I made it. I was fine. But I had to sign some liability forms when I got there. They took us through everything that we were gonna do, and then we went over and to get our stuff ready. And where you go, it's actually right next to the Kilimanjaro Safaris queue. like when you enter the queue, if you're walking to it, it'll say Wild Africa Trek sign, like right to the left.
Okay.
So it's really close to that. Okay, so before you leave, they have to get you set up. So everything has to go in lockers. You have to put your backpacks, you have to put jackets, anything like loose that you don't want to tether to yourself has to go in the lockers. You can have your phone or like a camera. You can also have sunglasses, but they will give you wrist straps or just straps to keep like on you so that you don't drop them or lose them while on the trail.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
So that is required. So they give you a locker for that.
Last thing they want is a gorilla with a cell phone.
Yes, Jared.
Because they would figure out how to use it.
They
and
really
then
would. They
Planet
really
of
would.
the Apes happens.
Oh my!
And it's all because you dropped your cell phone.
Oh my. Okay. Well, there you go.
Just saying.
After that, they make you stand on a scale. They want to make sure you're not over the 300-pound maximum, and that's done for, I believe, for the rope bridge, and for maybe the cars. I'm not sure exactly, but that is a requirement. You have to be under that. Okay, then they get you set up with a vest and a harness, and they will put these on for you, but you just kind of have to stand there, and they just put it on for you. But they give you also an earpiece. They give you a water bottle, and for this day, since it was raining, we all got to wear ponchos.
Nice.
Which I did get to keep, so that was kind of fun.
A bonus poncho.
Yay! And the water bottle you got to keep too. It's like a stainless steel canteen thing. So I was like, okay, thank you. So we were kind of waiting underneath, not getting wet so far, and the whole group was probably less than 20 people.
What's the max amount of people they can do? Did they
I
say?
actually don't know. I don't know what the maximum is.
I mean, most tours, like when we did Keys of the Kingdom, I think the max usually was like 20 to 25 people. So I don't think they would take like 50 people on a tour, really.
I doubt it. I think there's like, I would say like maybe 20 is about the max, maybe. Again, I didn't actually go through and count how many, but it wasn't that many.
Right. Okay.
All right. So once we were all ready, they take us through the Gorilla Falls Trail. Do you know where that is? That's like
I do.
kind of at the exit to Kilimanjaro Safaris. So you go through that and you're kind of walking, you're winding, which I've never been back there. I'm ashamed, but I've never been back there. And I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And instead of going to this one like overlook place, we kind of cut through the woods, if you will. And our guides were Cheyenne and Rachel, and they were fabulous. Very informational, very, I don't know. It's not a really great way to describe someone in this like position, but they were cute. They were fun. They were nice. But they were great. So anyway, take us through Gorilla Falls, and they're kind of giving us a rundown of the Disney Conservation Fund and Animal Kingdom and like some general information. And in this general information, they did confirm something that Jared has said, and people have said it's not.
I have gotten flack for this.
But it is.
And I just want to say I am vindicated, and you can send your apologies to Jared at cteam.show.
And that is the fact that Animal Kingdom is in fact a zoo.
I feel I'm happy that the research caught up to what I'd been saying, and there's nothing wrong with being a zoo. It's great to be a zoo. It's just, it's fine. It's a zoo with rides.
So it is accredited by both the Association of Zoos and Aquariums and the World Association of Zoos and Aquariums. So the park has met and exceeded requirements in education, research, and conservation. So it does indeed make it a zoo. It's obviously more than that. However, it operates differently than just a regular zoo.
It's a zoo with rides.
It's a themed park, themed zoo park. I don't know. Anyway, it is technically
it's a zoo theme park.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
But anyway, so there you go for anybody that's curious.
Like that was the first thing Jamie and Rachel, like when they got off, like who you went with this on Rachel, they told me right off the bat, you were right. And I was like, what? And then told me, and I was like, I knew I was right.
She was very happy to tell you
had
that.
to be.
Yeah.
And again, nothing wrong with it. Like my whole stance on zoos is simply, I'm happy. They're fine. I have no problem with them. But then the reason Jamie didn't know if I'd want to do this is, hey, Jared, do you want to go watch zebras? And I'm like, not really. I'm fine. I'm glad they're doing well, but I don't really care to go watch them hang out.
Hey, and that's fine.
No.
Hey, that's okay.
If you're like, lions are going on a hunt, we're going to go watch them and be like, I'll watch that. But them napping, I don't really much.
Well, all right.
Anyways,
Okay.
all right, we'll get back to your thing.
So once we go into the woods, so to speak, we go into the place where we can see the hippos.
Okay.
And I'm not going to say everything that we learned here, just because there's a lot of information, but two, in case you do it, I don't want you to like be spoiled about it. But we learn about from another cast member, learn about more about the hippos and their habitat and their names and all that stuff. And when you're in a spot and they're talking to you, like, and it's kind of a spot where you could easily kind of go over the edge, they will tether you to like a little bar behind you, and it kind of slides so you can walk back and forth. So it's safe. Like, you're not going to fall off the cliff or whatever. But they do have you do that, and you have like a little carabiner and everything. So we did that. And then the next part, which is the part that was the most fun for me, was the rope bridge. Now
You said was or wasn't the most fun?
Was.
Okay.
It was the most fun. So the rope bridge, you will see this if you're going by the crocodiles on Kilimanjaro safaris. If you look up and also to the left over by the crocodiles, you'll see two rope bridges. Kind of forms an L.
I've seen them before. Yeah.
Okay. So they're right there. That is part of this tour. And what they do is they basically just tether. Again, you're tethered to like a line that goes
Kind of
right
like
above you.
A zip line type
Kind
thing.
of, but you're walking across it. Now it's more than just ropes and like wood. I mean, there's metal.
Right.
Like, you're not. It's completely safe. Like, you're not.
It's
gonna
made
fall.
to look more rickety than it is.
Yeah, I mean, you do have to be careful where you stand, because like if there's parts where you kind of have to make a little bit wider of a step, but if you were to like misstep and fall, like, you can just stand back up. Like,
Right.
you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
But it is quite high. It is. I mean, so if you have a thing with heights, it may not be your thing, but man, you can get some amazing views.
I bet. Yeah.
Of the animals, the water behind you. It's amazing.
So is it
It's
the
amazing.
crocodiles right below you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they were. There were 5 or 6 that were kind of gathered all together, and you can kind of see them from up top. It was very cool. And of course, they do take pictures of you. So I forgot to mention that one of the cast members has a camera, and they take pictures of you as you go on the rope bridge, the animals you see, any stops you make, they'll take a picture of who you're with, like just yourself, like as the tour's going. So they do this on the rope bridge as well. So that part took quite a while, because there's only 1 or 2 people allowed on the rope bridge at a time. So Rachel went first. So once she got about halfway through, then I went.
Right.
But they have to keep that kind of spacing throughout the rope bridge till you get to the stop, and then you go to the other one as well. So that took quite a while. But that was fun. They disconnect you, and it's fine. Everybody did great. And then the crocodiles, we stopped to talk about the crocodiles for a little bit. And they kind of rushed that a little bit because it was going to start raining again. So they kind of rushed us to this little like transport vehicle. It was just for the Wild Africa track. And as soon as we got in there, it just started pouring. So we're still wearing our ponchos, but we've taken off our vests at this point because we don't really need them at this point. And kind of going through the savannah. Kind of what you do at Kilimanjaro safaris. But if we want to stop for a little bit, we can. If we want to get closer, we can. Because it was raining, there were a lot of animals that you would normally see on the safari. They were not out.
Right.
Giraffes were out. I will give them that. The wildebeests were out. Let's see. Did we see anybody else? Oh, not the dogs. Or whatever they're called.
Hyenas?
No, not the hyenas, but
prairie,
the wild dogs,
like
or whatever.
The prairie dogs?
No, yeah, like the wild dogs. I forgot what they're
I know
called.
what you're talking about, yeah.
But they were all gathered, like huddled together in the little cave thing. You can see them all just like not wanting to get wet. It was pretty cute, actually. So we go around and we go by the elephants. There were a couple out as well. Flamingos were still out because apparently rain doesn't bother them. And we kind of cut across and parked over by this overlook. Now you can see this overlook place from the safari. It kind of, it's got bathrooms. It's got some tables and chairs and like a little bar area, and it's shaded. but you can see it from the, do you know what I'm talking about?
I vaguely remember seeing it, but I didn't know what it was.
Okay, so it's like it's situated like if you're coming around the savannah and you see that tree, that upside down tree. So if you keep looking past that, like on top of the hill, that's where the overlook place is.
Gotcha.
So that's where we went, and we had like this is a little snack stop, if you will, and we had bathroom break, and we just kind of got to chill for a little bit. Amazing views once again of the savannah, lots of pictures, lots of videos. It was great, but it also was raining. But then they give you your snack, and it comes in a tiffin. Like Tiffin's, the restaurant.
Oh yeah.
Comes in an actual like tiffin.
Okay.
And the food is actually prepared in the tiffin kitchen.
Oh.
Which is interesting. So they gave us garlic and leek hummus and pita, prosciutto and mozzarella, olive mix, fresh fruit, a chicken wrap, some marinated tandoori shrimp, and a fig granola bar thing. And you got to have as much pog juice as you want as well. And it was all so good. It was all like cold stuff. Like everything was cold. But the best thing was the garlic and leek hummus. I would have had like an entire jar of that.
Really?
Oh, it was so good.
Okay.
The fig granola was good too. Is sweet. The shrimp was pretty good too. But those were my favorite. The pita with the hummus.
Is it more? So is it enough to fill you up? Is it just like a very light thing?
We had about 25 minutes to eat, and I was able to get through most of it. So I don't know. It's not like it's not a full meal, I would say, but it would fill you up pretty. Because
how long is the tour total?
3 hours.
Okay, so it's not like a 5 hours. It's not like Keys of the Kingdom where you're basically there for like half a day.
No, it's not like that. No.
Okay.
So it's not a full meal. It's they see it. They say it as a snack.
Gotcha.
Like it's just like a snack stop. But yeah, the pita and the hummus was definitely my favorite. And then we got back in the truck after a while, and they took us through the rest of the savannah and dropped us off back kind of where we started. Or I guess, well, kind of where we started. There's a little area where they drop you off just for the trek tours. It's not where like the safari is, but it's like close to it. I'll have to show you sometime when we go.
Okay.
But yeah, the rest of the savannah, and then and then that was it. So the whole tour ended up being a little under 3 hours, but we got to see a lot of animals you normally don't get to see. We got to stop when we wanted to stop. Lots of information. Again, the tour guides were great. And it was a really great day. It wasn't hot either because it was raining.
It was raining.
Really cooled it down.
I was wondering the whole time because I was in the park doing some work. I had brought my laptop in and was just doing some work in like a little seated area, and it was pouring, and I was just like, I'm assuming they won't cancel it unless there's like lightning.
That is correct. They will not cancel unless there's lightning. So rain or shine, they will have the tour. Yeah.
And like I'm guessing like Kilimanjaro safaris, obviously the animals you see, it varies just because they're wild animals.
Absolutely. So, you can't control any of that. Right. But like I said, they do have more information. You can stop, you get closer to them. You can take more time if you want to learn more. You can ask questions. Whereas the Kilimanjaro safari, you can't really ask a lot of questions. I mean, you can, but like you're constantly moving through the safari, whereas this is very much individualized. So it's really kind of cool. I will say once you get dropped off and you go back and you get all your stuff and you take everything off, you can keep your water bottle. Like I said, you can also keep your name tag. So I still have that as well. And we got some pictures with our tour guides, which they were lovely. And then we were done.
Okay. Well, I suppose one thing we can do since you did this, if anybody's looking to do this, are there any tips that you would have for people that maybe going in would be helpful to know?
Yes. Make sure that you have comfortable shoes and can easily walk on terrain that's a little rocky or uneven. Because if your shoes are uncomfortable, and I mean, you're going to be walking through some places that are not easy to walk.
Right.
Let's just say that. So if you're uneven and walking, I wouldn't recommend this tour. Also, if you are needing like wheelchair assistance, I don't think they offer that with this tour, just because of the nature of the tour. So that's just something to think about as well. I also wouldn't recommend it if you're afraid of heights because of the rope bridge. Now, it is not super duper high up.
How high up is it?
I mean, it's high enough to be over the ride vehicles for safaris.
Like 20, 30 feet?
Maybe more, maybe a little more than that.
Okay.
I mean, it's substantial.
Right.
You know, and if it's just going to make you nervous looking down, and like what you're standing on isn't super stable, even though you're safe, it's not super stable, then I would pass on this one.
Right.
But that's just it. I would say to try not to do this in the summer, early fall, or late spring. I did it in late spring, which was okay because of the rain and it wasn't super hot. But if you do this in the summer, you're going to be sweating so bad, because not only you're wearing your regular clothes, you're wearing that vest, and the vest is kind of a little bit heavy, but it's also thick. So it is pretty warm. It's pretty warm out there. So do it in the winter if you can, or early spring, late fall.
Any other tips other than?
Continually drink water, because it's a lot of walking, and they will refill your water if you need it. Don't be afraid to ask questions. The guides are very knowledgeable. And it was really nice with the guides being able to take pictures for us. I did take pictures on my phone, but they will take pictures if you need it. And they will give you a little card at the end where you can go and find your pictures. It's pictures of everybody and all the pictures from the tour, but you can put the little code in and you can bring your pictures up.
Now, do you need PhotoPass to be able to get access to that? Or
Not that. That's
okay.
included. So that
That's
should be all included with the tour.
Okay.
So, yeah. I think that's all I wanted to really touch on with this tour.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's good info. And obviously, having done it, that's some good tips. So overall, you've done a few tours. Do you think this tour is worth it? Especially, I'm assuming if you like Animal Kingdom, you like animals, things like that.
So, like, worth the price?
Do you like it, and is it worth the price?
Oh, okay. So I loved it. I thought it was a wonderful tour. Is it worth the price? I would say yes. I would say it's worth the price, especially since you're getting that individual attention and it's more focused on certain animals of the safari, and it's very like more intimate kind of tour than like the Keys of the Kingdom.
Well, and you're getting access to animals that you otherwise, you really wouldn't be able to.
Right.
I don't know of any zoos that really offer stuff like this, at least I've heard of. They may nowadays, but
they probably do now.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I the rope bridge was again my favorite part, and just the rain was kind of put a damper. Get it, damp. There it is.
Nice.
On that part, but yeah, that's okay. But yes, I think it's worth the price. I think it's a worthwhile tour to do in Animal Kingdom if you are really interested in learning more about animals and conservation, because they go over that quite a bit. If you're not really into animals, I don't know if I would do this, but it's just a little extra for your vacation if you want to do it. We had a lady that was on the tour who was with her daughter, like traveled from Scotland with her daughter, and her daughter had no interest whatsoever in doing it. So she's like, fine, I'll just do it myself.
Well, there you go.
So she did. And she's like, I'm glad she didn't do it. She would have been bored. I'm like, right. Okay. There you go.
There you go.
So yeah.
Okay. Well, anything else you want to add about the tour that we didn't talk about?
Gosh, I mean, again, I don't want to say too much about what they tell you, but that's just kind of was my experience going through it. And I had a really great time. And thank you, Rachel, for going with me.
Yes. Well, okay. Well, thank you for sharing.
Yes.
And that's good information. So again, if you want to book that, you can do it through the app or you can call, and that's how you go about that. So, all right. Well, I think that will do it for the show. So I guess before we go, if you want to check out the shirts we have, ctmshirts.com, so you can do that. If you want to be part of Club 32, ctmvip.com is where you go for that. And of course, follow us on social media. It's at Cap the Magic everywhere except for TikTok, where it's at Capture the Magic. And we do most of the posting on like Instagram. We have the Facebook group, things like that. And if you want even more content, be sure to check out some of the other shows. So we have CTM Universal, where we talk about Universal Studios. We now are doing that twice a month. And we just did one where we talked about the announcement of Minion Land that is coming over there, and the Villain Con attraction has more details announced. So we talk about that in our stay at Sapphire Falls Kid Suite. So like I said, twice a month, and that's on this feed and its own feed as well if you want to separate those out. And we also have Trip Tales, which is Jamie's trip report show. And when's the next one they're coming out?
Toward the end of the month.
Okay.
Yep.
And that is, people go on trips and then they break it down in great detail. So at this point, there's been plenty of trips that maybe one is like yours, so you can get firsthand knowledge about, how it goes and hear from people firsthand how it went for them. So, and I think that'll do it. So,
I was just going to mention before we go, we will be going back to Universal here shortly. Maybe before Father's Day, but we're just kind of playing by ear to see when Minions Lane is going to open.
Well, they keep opening sections of it.
They do.
Like they took down some of the walls, and then they have the gift shop part is open now
For the ride, yeah.
Yeah, so I they've said it's opening in the summer. Whenever it does open, we'll be there. We'll just make a quick day trip down. So yeah, we may go check things out if it's not fully open by then. So
and we are going to go back to Volcano Bay as well this month. So lots of Universal stuff coming up.
And again, just programming note, we do have vlogs on the YouTube channel. So add Captain Magic there. Those are on that channel. It's vlogs and like short videos about topical videos. And then we have a separate YouTube channel, CTM Podcast, where we have the video versions of the podcast over there, and that's just video episodes of the podcast and show clips over there. So if you want to go subscribe over there or to both, you can check that out there. So you see the visual component of all of that. So, all right, well, that will do it for the show. So thank you, everybody, for listening and or watching. And thank you, Jamie, for joining us.
You're welcome.
And as Jamie always likes to say,
we will see you in the parks.
Bye.